Here are 5 new features coming to FIFA 23. Starting off with the first one, it is going to be talking about cross-platform. Now, we already have cross-platform in FIFA 22. If you go onto the friendlies, you can play against someone on Xbox even if you're on PlayStation. However, in FIFA 23, we'll be getting cross-platform. What this means is when you go into division rivals, foot champs, friendlies, any game mode in FIFA, you could be playing against someone on Xbox or PC. Bad news is though, it's only if you're on next gen or on PC. What does this mean for FIFA? Well, it means that you'll get into a game quicker, FIFA will be a lot more competitive, and potentially the rewards from div rivals and foot champions could be better as a result of it being more competitive. Now for me, as someone who's a trader, this could also mean that we could have a cross-platform market, which would be perfect. Currently on FIFA, each console has its own market. Typically, PlayStation is a lot more active too. However, with cross-platform, this means that we could have a cross-market, which could be huge. And just before we get into point number 2, if you want to go and buy any FIFA 22 coins, make sure to click the link in the description and check out Mule Factory. Use that code LE5CHEAP. Moving into point number 2, we're going to be getting a whole host of different nations in FIFA 23, which means one thing and one thing only. That we are going to be seeing the return of the World Cup mode potentially in FIFA 23 Ultimate Team. In addition to that, we could also see a standalone game mode. However, with the addition of these brand new teams, it's almost certain that we are going to be getting a World Cup mode in some sense. And the World Cup mode is one of the best game modes ever seen in FIFA. The last World Cup mode in Ultimate Team was a separate game mode that you could play and grind out. You could open packs to build your squads, and you could then go on and build a team that had a different chemistry system in comparison to normal Ultimate Team. Which leads us on pretty nicely to point number 3. We're going to be getting a new chemistry system in FIFA 23 Ultimate Team. If you play FIFA, you know how chemistry works. You build teams by putting other players together who have the same league and nation, and depending on the players who you put in there, you can get different chemistry ratings. However, in FIFA 23, this is going to be different. Chemistry has been removed and replaced by a star system where each player can get up to 3 stars on their team. Unlike FIFA 22 or any other version of FIFA, every nation and league works with every other nation and league, meaning that you can use pretty much any player from anywhere in the world and build your ultimate team. Out of all of the new features in FIFA 23, in my opinion, this is the best one. It opens a whole world of possibilities on building your ultimate team. This will have such an adverse effect on the market as well from the start of the game, because other players who may have not gone for a lot because they were from a bad league or a bad nation will now go for more. Again, this is just so good. Like the fact that I can just build any team that I want. This is how FIFA should have always been. And talking about squad building, let's move into point number 4, which is that position modifiers are going to be removed from FIFA 23. At the minute, you can't really play players in different positions. Say for example, a player plays in centre back in real life and left back as well, you can't move them to that new position. However, in FIFA 23, this will be completely different. Players will have a main primary position and a secondary position. For example, someone like Gabby Jesus. He can play at striker, but he can also play at right wing, left wing, so his main position will be striker and his secondary position could be something like right wing. This again opens a whole world of different possibilities for squad building. And the removal of this position modifiers also means that packs won't be clogged up with position modifiers. You don't have to spend hours sniping a striker to centre forward or a centre mid to centre attacking mid. It's just not going to be like that anymore. Wherever you put that player, they'll be able to play there and there won't be any questions asked. And that moves us on to point number 5, talking about some new heroes that are coming to FIFA 23. Heroes are cards that you can get in FIFA 22 Ultimate Team that were introduced in FIFA 22. The players who weren't really good enough to be icons, but they were good enough to be heroes considering how good they were for their individual clubs. Players like Solskjaer, Di Natale, Cordoba and a whole host of other people got heroes at the start of this year. And EA are going to be bringing heroes back for FIFA 23. Here's a few players who are going to be getting new hero cards with cards that I have come up with. Let me know what you think about these in the comment section. Starting off with a Liverpool and Feyenoord legend, it's going to be Dirk Kuyt. Dirk Kuyt was one of the hardest workers that football had ever seen, and this is the card that I've come up with. Moving into the next player, it's going to be the centre-back, Lucio. Lucio played at a whole host of different clubs, including Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, Juventus, Sao Paulo, and many more. He also played over 105 games for the Brazilian national team, and this is the card that I've come up with for him. Next up is Mexico legend, Rafa Marquez. This guy could also get a link to current hero Ocampos. This is the card that I've come up with for him. Next up is Manchester United legend Park Ji-sung. Park Ji-sung was a midfielder from South Korea. This guy was one of the most underrated players for Manchester United as well, and this is the card that I've come up with for him. Next up, Diego Simeone. Now you might know Diego Simeone as Atletico Madrid's manager, but I bet you didn't know that he was actually one of the best Argentinian footballers. This is the card that I've come up with for him. Next up is someone who used to be in FIFA not too long ago. It's going to be Claudio Marchisio, who is a Juventus Juventus legend, having over 294 games and 33 goals. He was one of the best Italian players of all time, and this is the card that I've come up with for him. Next up is someone you definitely weren't expecting in this list. It's going to be Peter Crouch. Now this is one I'm really excited for. Peter Crouch was an English legend, and one team in particular who was a legend at was Stoke City, having over 225 games. This card could be absolutely insane. And moving into the final one, it is going to be Manchester City legend Yaya Toure. Yaya played over 230 games for Manchester City, scoring over 59 goals. And he also had spells at Barcelona and Monaco. This guy was an absolute beast. That's everything we've got in this video so far. If you want to go and watch another one, make sure to click here. This is 6 Lewis, and I am off. Oosh.